Good afternoon, class. I'm Caitlin Rogers, and today I will be trying to persuade you on why we should have compost bins here at Western Oregon University. I moved down here from Seattle, Washington, and in Washington, everyone that I know has 3 bins: a garbage bin, a recycling bin, and a compost bin. Now, what is composting? Composting is the process of taking any of the small food scraps that we kind of neglect, like eggshells, leftover vegetable or fruit waste, any part of food that we don't finish eating, as well as paper scraps and a bunch of other things that we don't really even think about, such as dust lint. And we take all of that, we put it into soil, and over time it creates this really nitrogen-rich fertilizer that can be used in any plant or environmental use, such as planting, gardening, making the environment a little bit more nitrogen-rich like it needs. Now, what is the process of this? Again, it is just taking any of the leftover scraps that you don't really think about, putting it into a compost bin, and then at the end of the week or end of the month, however long it takes to conjure up the amount that is preferable, you put it into a small bit of soil, have the layer of scraps, and then put a little bit more soil on there, and then you let that marinate for a certain amount of time. What a hot turn is called is when you're every now and then just turning it, making sure that it's mixed up right, all of that good stuff, and then by the end of 20 days, you should have a fresh patch of fertilizer. Now, after all of this information, why should we have compost bins here at Western Oregon University? After doing a little bit of research on how much food is wasted throughout the year from Americans, I actually found out that 1.3 billion tons of food waste is thrown into every dump throughout America. That's a large amount. Money-wise, that comes out to about $680 billion of food wasted. You could give $2 to everyone that lives in America if we gave that much back. Now, when we look at all the figures, what does that mean for Western Oregon? What does that mean for us as students? Well, when you think about it, what is the number one thing that you throw away here on campus? I'm going to take the guess that it is leftover food, paper scraps, dust lint, the things that I mentioned before that could be compostable. Now, yes, it's easier just to throw them away in the garbage, but here's a few pro tips about what I think would really benefit from composting. It would save us money. We wouldn't be throwing away as much garbage, which means that we would be able to bring back to the university what we put out, such as we would give students food, but also when they're done with their food and maybe they don't finish all of it, they don't have to worry about wasting food as much as giving back to the university. We would save money in terms of we wouldn't have to pay for our own fertilizer. Luckily, we live in an area where we have a large amount of plants, we have a large amount of greenery all around campus, but I've noticed that we don't have a greenhouse or a active environmental club or an active green club. That's the third point. It could be an entire school project that would make us as a school more green. We constantly love talking about how green we are and how sustainable we are, but we're not doing one of the most simple acts that there is, which is composting. If we put a compost bin in front of the cafeteria at the end of all the major on-campus staying and housing areas, as well as throughout campus, I really do believe that it would be much more efficient than just having garbage bins. Now, what are the costs of all this? It sounds great. It sounds like a win-win situation where we get the benefits of composting. Composting saves the earth, all of that good stuff. It sounds a little bit hippie, but here's the thing. It doesn't cost that much. All you're paying for is the bins and a little bit of soil. Soil is extremely cheap in certain areas, and depending on the type of soil that you get, it can be even free. So what's the cost to us? Basically nothing. There is no reason why we're not composting, which is why I believe thoroughly that by the end of the day, we should all be composting. It's very simple and very efficient. Some of the benefits from composting, we would be able to have a greenhouse possibly, which means our own fruits and vegetables that we're growing right in our backyard. We could use those in the cafeteria, which means fresher food and better food for the cafeteria and the people eating at the cafeteria. And we would have the knowledge that we are lessening our carbon footprint onto the earth. Composting is simple, easy, efficient, and a project that anyone can do. It is something that we can teach anyone, and I thoroughly believe that at the end of the day, there is no reason why we shouldn't be composting. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will take into consideration of why we should be composting every day and giving back to the earth. Thank you.